It's time to talk about the murderous crime family in Freeside, the Graff family. The Graffs were destined to play a very large role in the version of Fallout 3 that was planned by Black Isle Studios. During production, this game was codenamed Van Buren. Sadly, this version of Fallout 3 was ultimately canceled due to Black Isle Studios running out of money. Instead, they devoted that money to produce Icewind Dale. Bethesda's Fallout 3 has a completely different plot from the Fallout 3 envisioned by Black Isle Studios. But when Obsidian had the opportunity to make Fallout New Vegas, they borrowed from much of the lore that had already been developed for Van Buren, bringing some of those characters to life in the Mojave Wasteland. One of those factions is the Graff family, a crime family with roots in New Reno, but which has recently opened up shop here in New Vegas. The Graff family specializes in selling some of the best energy weapons around. We stumble upon their collars advertising their wares from many of the street corners in Freeside.
Come to the Silver Rush for all your energy weapon needs.
Their base of operations is the derelict Silver Rush Casino. We learn later that they didn't always own this building. This building had previous occupants whom the Graff family forced out. As we approach the door, we see that it is guarded by a Graff thug.
Welcome to the Silver Rush, New Vegas' best source of laser and plasma weapons.
He is polite enough, but when we try to enter, he takes us aside.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to search you before letting you in. The only weapons allowed on the premises are the ones we're selling.
If we say that's not gonna happen, we're just banned entry. So our only option is to give him permission.
It should only take a moment. There, I've stowed all of your weapons. You're clear to enter. When you leave, I'll hand them all back to you.
The bosses are having a meeting. You'll have to wait until it's over.
We see a big cage blocking off the primary retail floor. If we ignore the warning from the guards and we step beyond them, they all open fire. Instead, we can observe the meeting through the fence.
Mr. Soren, please get to the point. The second half of your payment is late and I want to know why.
Miss Van Graff, my associates and I have decided that we wish to renegotiate the terms of our deal.
Might I ask for what reason? The shipment was delivered. The guns were tested before leaving this facility.
Regardless, we feel that the quality of the weapons is below expectation and hope to adjust the price accordingly.
I think I understand what the issue here is. Excuse me for a moment, would you? Do it. Never break faith with the Van Graffs, Mr. Soren. I expect you'll have the rest of our payment ready tomorrow morning.
Who was the man they just executed?
Okay, everyone. Show's over. Back to work.
Part of me thinks that he wasn't affiliated with Mr. Soren. It seems strange to me that Mr. Soren would try to negotiate so strongly for a better price if one of his comrades was kneeling and handcuffed inside a firing range. I get the impression that this must have been one of their guards or associates that betrayed them, whom they were in the process of executing for treason when Soren arrived. They took the opportunity to execute this guy whom they were going to kill anyway to teach Soren a lesson. The man standing at attention with a large laser rifle is Jean-Baptiste Cutting, but he doesn't like to talk.
Get the fuck away from me. The last man who bothered me volunteered to help test our weapons.
Instead, we can talk with Gloria Van Graff. She mans the counter here at the Silver Rush Casino.
Welcome to the Silver Rush, where only top-of-the-line energy weapons can be found. What can I do for you?
Now, to better understand this family of criminals, we need to know how they do business and what they think about the other factions here in Freeside. We can begin by asking her what she thinks about her competition, the Gunrunners.
There are chief competitors in this region and many others. That makes them our enemies. While I respect their business acumen, I'm obligated to try to destroy them however I can. That's business, after all.
So is this a family business?
Yes, it is. My brother and I run this particular branch, but our family has operations all over, particularly in California.
What are you doing in Freeside? This seems like a bad neighborhood to open a store.
Look around, and you'll notice two things. First, we don't lack for security. I'm not worried about anyone breaking in here or stealing our goods. Not that we don't occasionally have attempts, but even those prove useful. Do you know how much target dummies cost? Back to my point. The second thing you'll notice is that we do not sell cheap merchandise. Everything here is second to none. People who buy Van Graff goods typically don't care where they have to go to get them.
Tell me about Freeside.
This place is certainly lively, that's for sure. Did you want to know something specific about it?
What are your thoughts on the Kings?
The Rulers of Freeside. The Kings are a bunch of boys who refuse to grow up, and this is their playground. Their leader seems different, though. The few times I've dealt with him, I've been impressed, despite myself. Unfortunately, he rarely acts. The Kings believe that everyone in Freeside can do whatever they want, provided they can back it up with force. Which suits us just fine. When we first arrived in Freeside, the Kings protested when we kicked out the original occupant of this establishment. When we reduced several of their members to glowing puddles of goo, their objections vanished. Since then, we've left each other alone.
What do you think of the followers of the apocalypse?
I don't really have much to do with them. They seem to have an aversion to weapons technology, and those who possess a great deal of it. Their loss, really.
What is there to do around here?
Well, you probably noticed the Atomic Wrangler across the street. That's pretty much the place to go around here. They make it a little loud around here at night, but the business their proximity brings more than makes up for it. Other than them, you're better off skipping Freeside entirely and just heading to the Strip.
Gloria, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh, there's not much to tell. I was born into a big family and don't get along with my parents, so here I am, as far away from them as possible.
What do you think about the NCR?
You must not know a lot about my family, or you wouldn't have asked that. The Van Graffs and the NCR have been enemies for decades. They've tried to block our expansion for years, but we've managed to grow regardless. The problem is, they have too. The NCR is huge now. We're talking on a scale that's difficult to imagine. Time was, we could fight them and hold our own. Not so anymore. My family has enough men and guns to field a small army, but the NCR can field a really, really big army. Fighting them is out of the question now.
Here, Gloria alluded to a lot of the story that would have taken place in Van Buren before it was cancelled. In that game, the Van Graff family would have been one of the major enemies of the NCR. The two factions are not friends. But that makes me wonder, Gloria, what do you think about the Legion?
I've only heard rumors, since this is the furthest east our operations go, but the rumors are pretty scary. They're said to be a huge slaver nation, with all the soldiers obeying their lord with unquestioning obedience. Sounds like a man I'd like to meet.
What do you know about Mr. House?
Very little, same as everyone else. We attempted to deal with him when we first moved into the area, but had no luck. He must have his own weapons supplies to keep as many laser-armed robots operational as he does. Makes me wonder where they are.
Now that we've learned more about her and her family, we can ask her if the Van Graff family is hiring.
It just so happens a position opened up recently. We currently need another body to guard the entrance outside. Think you can handle that?
Sounds interesting. Gloria, count me in.
Wonderful. I already have a man outside who can show you the ropes and get you set up. His name is Simon. He's been with the family for years, so listen to what he says and follow his instructions.
With that, we get the quest, Birds of a Feather. And even though we are now technically employees, her brother Jean-Baptiste Cutting still doesn't want to talk with us.
Glory's the one you want to talk to about working for us. I just handle the details.
Well, she instructed us to head on outside. Outside, we can talk with Simon, the man we met when we first tried to enter.
Welcome to the Aw, crap. Don't tell me you're my new guard.
How did you know?
You can always tell a rookie. You look too eager. Give the job a few hours, and the shine will come right off.
Well, looks like we're just stuck with each other.
I've been paired with worse, I guess. Anyway, let's see if you can follow instructions. You'll be covering the other side of the door there. Take your position while I get your stuff out.
We turn around and walk to the right of the door to take up our guard position.
Good. Look around and get a feel for where customers and risks can enter and exit the area while I get your gear ready.
Freeside is a derelict slum. We see 3 avenues of entry. The road northwest, which leads to a dead end, the road southwest, which leads to a dead end, or the road northeast, which leads to the main drag, which leads to New Vegas. In this neighborhood, trouble could come from any direction.
Okay, now let's get you geared up. First, your armor. Standard issue is your run-of-the-mill combat armor, with a nice dark coat of paint for both brand recognition and sheer intimidation value. Next, your weapon. Guards are required to use rifles. Anything lighter compromises your combat effectiveness. Anything heavier and people are too scared to come in the door. What's your preference, laser or plasma?
What's the difference, Simon?
Lasers have a high rate of fire, but not a lot of stopping power. Plasma, on the other hand, is slow as a mule, but with a kick to match. So, what'll it be?
Plasma.
Nothing wrong with going plasma. Just make sure you hit what you're aiming at.
Wait. I changed my mind. Laser.
Good choice. I prefer laser-based weapons myself. But the boss lady says she wants at least one guard using a plasma rifle. Says the lightning bits draw in more people. Whatever. Now that you're equipped, a quick word on the job at hand. In a nutshell, we're here to keep the riffraff away. Drunks, punks, and capless vermin are to be turned away. Potential customers are to be permitted normal entrance. That is, after we pat them down for weapons. An unarmed man is a lot less likely to try to steal something with several armed guards around. Don't start any fights. I don't care if some jet junkie just assaulted your mother. We're here to promote violence elsewhere, not start it here. Lastly, don't abandon your post. We're getting paid to stand next to this door, not talk to someone down the street or head to the casino. That goes double for any thoughts of splitting with that gear. Every now and then, some young punk thinks he can run off with Van Graff property. Trust me, the rifle and armor are nice, but they're not worth your life. Other than that, relax. Who knows? You might attract a high roller from the Wrangler over there and never have to pull a gig like this again.
Now, we don't have to equip the items that he just gave us. The game automatically equips them for us.
Settle in. We've got some hours left before the shift ends.
Now, you'll have to forgive me. I have a weather mod installed that decided to go haywire while I was shooting this footage, and since I have to reload previous saves to record dialogue options that I missed, the weather changes from take to take. That's why you'll see that it's sunny or dark, raining or not, multiple times during scenes. So I apologize for that.
Here comes a winner. I'll let you handle this one.
Our first customer walks our way. Now, at any point, we can simply open fire on these customers, killing them. If we do that, we fail the quest Birds of a Feather, and all of the Van Graff guards open fire. So, this is not an interesting solution. Instead, we can go along with the quest. As the customer approaches, we see that he is dressed in rags, he is covered in filth, and he looks like a wastrel. But the game helps us in figuring out exactly what kind of man this is, because as he gets close, we learn that his name is Drunk.
Hi there. Is this where I can pick up a laser gun?
Sure is. Go on in, buddy.
Great. I've been wanting to get a laser gun for a while now.
We're supposed to pat everyone down. Didn't you hear that part of my instructions?
Or we can say, "Get out of here, you drunk."
Fine, I'm going. I'll take my business elsewhere.
More like he's going to the Wrangler for another drink. You watch.
Now, there's no sense to do a pat down on this guy because we see that he's just a filthy drunk. But instead of being rude to him, we can be polite and say, "Sorry, sir, I can't let you in, company policy."
Sounds like a stupid policy to me.
Good. Stick to the rules.
And with that, he walks off southeast.
Another one coming. You're on.
A well-dressed man emerges from one of the derelict buildings to the north. As he gets closer, he seems to be fairly respectable, and his name is Gambler.
Hi. I was, in the area and thought I'd stop by to look at your weapons. Can I go in?
Go on in, Gambler.
Thanks a bunch.
Were you even listening when I said what you're supposed to do?
Or we can say, "Are you drunk?"
No. Should I be?
How do I know you're not drunk?
Because I'm not. Can't you just tell? Forget it. I'll just head over to that pawn shop by the east gate.
You know, guarding the door is not that complicated. Maybe you'd be better off in another line of work.
That's right, we need to be polite to these people. Okay. Instead, we can abide by the rules and say, "We're gonna have to search you first."
Fine by me.
He's clean. See? Not so hard, is it? Heads up. Looks like we got another customer.
A suspicious-looking character comes from the east, wearing a fedora and a full suit. He has shifty eyes.
Howdy. I just done broke the bank over at the Wrangler there and thought I might peruse your fine wares. Maybe lighten my purse a little?
Welcome to the Silver Rush, sir. Go on in.
Thank you kindly.
It's almost like I never said anything at all.
Or we can say, sorry, sir, but I can't let you in.
What? Why the hell not?
Well, I think you're drunk, sir.
I haven't had a drink all day. Screw this place. I'll go spend my money elsewhere.
You keep losing us business like that, and you can forget about being paid.
Whoops. Bad judgment call there. Instead, we can say, certainly, sir, we just need to pat you down for weapons first.
Now hold on here. I'm not packing any heat. Ain't my word good enough for you?
We can respond curtly by saying, in a word, no.
If that's the case, then I guess I'll go spend my money elsewhere.
Wow, you're a real people person, aren't you?
The only way to satisfy this customer is to pass a 65 speech check and say, I'm sure you're a man of your word, sir, but we still need to pat you down. It's just a company policy.
I suppose it's all right, if there's no other choice.
He's clean.
See, told you so.
Looks like that guy's headed this way. Don't screw it up.
Out of the rubble comes a man who's overdressed for New Vegas. I can't imagine wearing such a getup walking around in this heat. The poor guy must be sweating.
Hey, looking for something to replace my old revolver. Mind if I head in?
Well, sir, you've come to the right place. Go on in.
Thanks, I've come a long way.
We're supposed to pat everyone down. Didn't you hear that part of my instructions?
Nothing feels better than a job well done. An explosion knocks us to our feet, and we immediately fail, birds of a feather. Simon dashes inside, and we can race after him to see what happened. The entire place is on fire. Most of the weapons have been disintegrated by a blast. Heading down the steps, we see Jean-Baptiste and his sister Gloria dead.
They're all dead. Guy must have had some kind of explosive on him. Set off all the ordnance in this place at once. Congratulations, rookie. You just cost me my job. Don't think I don't appreciate it.
Simon, furious at us for taking away his meal ticket, opens fire, forcing us to kill him.
Had enough?
If we choose this option, we now have our run of the place. We can loot all of the corpses and any remaining loot that didn't get blown up by the blast. On the bodies of Simon, Gloria, and Jean-Baptiste, we find the Van Graff key. And now that everyone inside is dead, we could turn this entire casino into our own personal player house if we want. All of the weapons that were on Gloria's countertop were turned to ash. But the shelving against the eastern wall still has a small assortment of weapons and a few explosives. We can walk away with quite a few suits of Van Graff combat armor by choosing this option. We can unlock the southwestern wall with the Van Graff key, which brings us to the employees section of the store and to the homes of the Van Graff family. Here we can unlock a hard-locked safe, or use the nearby terminal to unlock it. Inside we find an assortment of caps and ammunition, and also the laser rifle focus optics mod, which increases damage by 3. Heading upstairs is where Gloria and Jean-Baptiste lived. There are a couple of locked doors. Inside we find tool cabinets, gun cabinets, and shelves with ammunition, and we also find the slot machines from the old pre-war Silver Rush casino. We can find a few gun cases filled with minor weapons, but that's about it. Most of the good stuff was destroyed in the blast. Going down a southeastern doorway leads us to the bathrooms. There's a ladies' bathroom immediately to the right and a men's restroom right next to it. They were using this hallway as storage for many of the gambling tables from the old casino. But if we don't want to destroy the Van Graff family yet, instead of allowing the suicide bomber inside, we have a couple of options that have the same ultimate result. We can say, have you been drinking, sir?
What?
I asked if you've been drinking.
You gonna ask me questions all day, or you gonna let me in?
I'll keep asking until you start answering.
Damn, I knew this wasn't gonna work.
He gets nervous and opens fire.
You like that? Now what in the hell do you suppose that was about?
Before Simon reaches the corpse, we can loot it, where we find some C4 plastic explosives, which he was going to use to destroy the Silver Rush, and a revenge note.
Help me clean this up. No one's going to want to shop here with the corpse out front.
The screen goes black, and when we come back, the corpse is gone. Presumably Simon and I moved it. We can then read the suicide bomber's revenge note. To whom it may concern. If you're reading this, then I am likely dead. I can only hope that I manage to take some of those thrice-damned Van Graffs with me. My family deserves that much, at least. This man was someone whom the Van Graff family had harmed. And based on what we know of the family so far, that's not hard to believe. How many families have these people destroyed for a bigger profit? Now, if you failed to loot the corpse before Simon took it away, you can always find it in a dumpster out behind the Silver Rush Casino. Here we can loot everything on his corpse. We get the same result if we insist on searching him first.
That's not really necessary, is it? I already told you I got this here revolver, right?
Why? Do you have something to hide?
Damn, I knew this wasn't gonna work.
And we get the same option. We have to kill him. After he's dead, a final visitor comes towards the Silver Rush.
Crap. This I do not need today. Keep your head straight, rookie. Things are about to get interesting.
A member of the King's gang walks towards the Silver Rush. Gloria told us earlier that she kind of respects the leader of the Kings, but this is not him. This is one of his underlings named Pacer.
Hey, Simon. How's it hanging? Looks like you've got a little helper today.
What can I say? Business has been good lately. We can afford to help.
Good to hear, buddy. So is the boss lady in?
You know she is. Why don't you go in and say hi?
Nah, I got some rounds to run. But do pass along that I'm always thinking of her. Actually, I got a better idea. Make the new hire tell her. You'll do that for me, won't you?
Get out of here before you get hurt.
Ouch, this one's got a bite, Simon. Call her off, or she'll get put down.
Care to back that up?
Let's take this chump, guys.
Pacer opens fire and we have to defend ourselves. If we kill him, we fail the quest GI Blues, which we could have gotten from the Kings.
Oh, man. Gloria's gonna be pissed when she hears about this. Still, he started it, so we probably won't go to war with the Kings.
Alternatively, we can be professional, and when he challenges us, we can say, "It's fine, Simon. I won't let him get to me."
That's a good dog. Well, I'm out of here. Later, Simon.
Way to keep your head, rookie. There's hope for you yet.
Or when he asks us to give Gloria a message, we can say, "Why don't you tell her yourself?"
I would, but I tend to distract the boss lady a little too much. She can't help herself. Anyway, I got things to do. Later, Simon.
Way to keep your head, rookie. There's hope for you yet.
Or we can agree to his demands and say, "I'll be sure to pass it along."
That's a good dog. Well, I'm out of here. Later, Simon.
Way to keep your head, rookie. There's hope for you yet.
Whatever choice we made, he's the final visitor to the Silver Rush, and this marks the end of our workday.
It's just about closing time. Let's go see the boss about getting paid. Oh, I'm gonna need the rifle and armor back. Boss's orders.
Heading back inside, we can go to Gloria to report in.
Simon's been telling me how it went. Let's do a quick recap.
Now, we get a different outcome from Gloria depending upon how we chose to deal with each of the visitors. If we chose poorly for every single one, but managed to stop the suicide bomber, she says,
You basically let every jackass off the street march in here. That doesn't say much for your judgment. Then you robbed me of my revenge on that prancing asshole of a king. For that alone, I should kill you. Still, you did manage to prevent that psychopath from blowing this place up. That deserves some reward, at least.
And we only get 100 caps. If we only made 1 or 2 mistakes, but we were more or less all right, she says,
You had a little bit of a hard time following instructions, but didn't do too bad overall. Here's your pay.
And we get 200 caps. But if we performed perfectly, she says,
You kept away the undesirables, patted down the rest for weapons, and kept your cool. That is to say, you performed as instructed. Simon was impressed, and so am I. So you get a small bonus with your normal pay.
And we get 300 caps.
Unfortunately, I found someone else with a little more experience, and he'll take over the position starting tomorrow. However, another task has come up that I could use some help with, assuming you're still interested in making some money.
Maybe another time, Gloria.
Well, look who doesn't need my money anymore. When you find your pockets a little lighter, stop back. It's a courier job, so it should be easy caps.
Anytime after that, we could come back and say, hey, you still need that sample delivered?
You're in luck. We've interviewed a few people for the courier position, but they all seem so untrustworthy. Ready to make some money?
Keep talking.
There's a deal that we've been working on for a while now, and the buyer would like a sample of our weapons. I need you to run a package out to a discreet location that the client has chosen. Sound good?
I'll do it.
Good. Here's the package. I'll mark the location on your map. The buyer said they'd be in town for quite a while, so there's no rush. That said, try not to dawdle. This client could mean big money for us, which naturally means big money for you.
The quest marker sends us out into the middle of nowhere. The closest map marker to this place is Raoul's shack. But heading out into the desert after walking for a while, we find a suspicious-looking man waiting for us by some rocks.
Are you the Van Graff's emissary?
Maybe.
Don't play games with me. The question was just a formality. Now, do you have what we requested?
I'm sorry, you must have mistaken me for someone else.
I don't think so. My men watched you head straight for this location. Now, do you have what we requested?
All right, you got me. Yeah, I'm the emissary.
Do you have what we requested?
Who is we?
We were told there would be no questions. Do you have what we requested or not?
Well, we could simply hand it over to him and say, yeah, it's right here.
Huh. Then our business is concluded. Tell your superiors that we will contact them shortly.
With that, he gets the package, but he doesn't move. If we try to talk with him again, he says,
We've already concluded our business. I suggest you return to your employers.
But the final option is to demand payment.
I wasn't informed there was to be an exchange on my part. What are you talking about?
Well, what exactly were you informed of?
That you would have something for me. Now, do you or not?
We can then pass a 75 speech check to say, my employer managed to negotiate a small fee for this drop a short time ago.
Such a thing is possible. I've been out in the field for some time. Fine. This should cover your grievance. Now, the package, if you will.
All right, it's right here.
Huh. Then our business is concluded. Tell your superiors that we will contact them shortly.
He stays here on this rock, and so we can head back to the Silver Rush. As we arrive, we notice that the replacement guard, whom Gloria hired, is standing right here.
Talk to Simon.
Welcome to the Silver Rush, New Vegas's best. I'm just kidding. Go on in.
But now that we're a trusted associate of the Van Graff family, Simon no longer has to take our weapons at the door. We can bring them on inside. Heading inside, we can tell Gloria that the job is done.
And? Don't leave me in suspense. What was their reaction?
What do you know about this client?
It's better if you don't ask. Now, I believe I asked you a question. What was their reaction?
Her reaction is the same for both of these options. They seemed pleased, and they said they'd be in touch.
Good. Good. Here's your payment. If you'll excuse me, I have some thinking to do. Oh, Jean-Baptiste was talking about a matter earlier that he needs help with. I volunteered you. See him for the details.
Finally, we can talk with Mr. Silent over here.
Ah, just the person I was looking for. Your name came up in a discussion we had recently. My sister is very impressed with you so far, but I'm not. I don't think you have what it takes to work for this family. Luckily for you, I'm going to give you a chance to prove me wrong. What do you say? Want to make some real money?
What would I have to do?
No. That's not how it works. You don't get to weigh the options. You're either in or you're out.
Well, in that case, I'm out.
I thought so. Come back when you've got a backbone.
It's just that I'm busy right now.
Yeah, sure fucking thing. I'll be waiting with bated breath for your schedule to clear up.
All right. I am absolutely ready.
All right then. If we're going to work together, there's only one thing you need to know about me. I like things simple. Recently, Glory negotiated a deal between us and a big-time player. We're talking more caps than you'd probably see in a lifetime. Your part in this is simple. To finalize this deal, I need to tie up a loose end. To do that, there's a girl I need you to find.
Who's the girl?
Her name is Rose of Sharon Cassidy. That's some fancy shit, right? Don't know what her mother was thinking with a name like that. But this girl and I, we need to have a discussion. Find her. Bring her here so I can talk to her, one-on-one.
Do you know where she is?
Fuck no. If I knew where this bitch was, you think I'd be asking you? Still, there's someone who might. Old Alice McLafferty. Crimson Caravan might know something. She keeps tabs on caravan traffic in the Mojave. Wouldn't put it past her to keep track of Cassidy Caravans and its owner.
Well, why don't you do it?
I got business here. Need to watch the shop, make sure things are running smoothly. Besides, if I came for the girl, I'm not all friendly and charming like you are. She might get the wrong idea.
Look, anything you can say to her, you can say to me.
You don't want us chatting, trust me. As for the girl, I just want to talk to her. And if you can't bring her here, then you're no use to me, or Gloria. So if you want to cause trouble in here over nothing, then go on, try.
You just want to talk? All right, well, what do you want to talk with her about?
If your answer isn't yes, I'll bring her here, or no, I won't because Gloria had me pegged wrong, then we're done here.
We can bow out at this point, or we can say yes, and his response is the same, regardless of the way we choose to say it.
Find her, bring her back here so we can talk. Needless to say, there's some good money in it for you.
And now that we're a trusted work associate, we can ask him a little bit more about his family and his business. Jean-Baptiste, I heard that your family has a grudge against a king named Pacer. This, incidentally, was the guy who came to the door earlier.
Yeah, you can blame Glory for that mess. She had some fun with the little prick and it ended badly. Now he goes around spreading lies about my sister, which pisses me off. One of these days, I'm going to piss in his skull. You watch.
Why don't you just kill him?
We could do that, but then we'd have to kill his 400 friends too, and that'd just get tiring. Someday he'll make a mistake, though, and his friends won't be around to back him up, and then it'll be mine.
How come your name isn't Van Graff like your sister's?
Unlike most of my brothers and sisters, Mama didn't get sick of my father and get rid of him. He died right before I was born. Mama had liked him so much she made us use his last name. Said he deserved that much at least since he never got to meet me or nothing.
Tell me more about the Van Graffs.
Our family comes from Reading to the west. We deal weapons mostly, but trade other commodities like gold if there's cash in it. Our mother's been running this show for longer than most of us have been alive, but she stays at the home office. We've got branches all over the place, which are run by my brothers and sisters. Mama's real popular with the menfolk, both for her money and her looks, which is why there's 10 of us kids in total, all by different fathers.
What about Gloria?
Glory? Glory's fucking crazy. Some of my siblings are real pieces of work, but I'd bet on Glory if she were facing down a death claw with the plastic spoon. She's got the smarts to do whatever she wants, but she and Mama are always butting heads, so she gets all the shit jobs.
What about you?
I'm not one for running a business, never really had a head for numbers or smooth talk. My talents are a little more direct. Mama always said that was my gift. When we were kids, the others used to fight over and steal one another's toys. I always broke mine. And if the others messed with me, I broke theirs too. Sometimes I break them even if they were nice to me just to show them what's what. One day Mama took me aside and said, "Boy, you're never going to go very far, but you're going to make a whole lot of people come up short."
With this story from Jean-Baptiste, we get more allusions to the Van Graff family that we would have been able to explore in the canceled Van Buren game. There's a lot more lore we can learn online about this family, but since it's not found in any published Fallout game, it may or may not be considered canon. So for right now, we'll stick only to the story that we actually find in the game of New Vegas about the Van Graff family. But Jean-Baptiste wants us to go find a girl named Cass, but he doesn't know where she is, and neither do we. He sends us to the Crimson Caravan Company because they may know where to find her. Once we reach their headquarters, we can talk with Alice McClafferty. Alice, I'm looking for Cass. The Van Graffs told me to check in with you.
Coincidentally, I'm also looking for her. I've got a business offer she'd be interested in. I believe Cass frequents the Mojave Outpost, far south of here, near the California border.
So we need to go to the Mojave Outpost to find Cass. Now, Cass is the owner of a caravan company called Cassidy Caravans, a company which she inherited from her father. Cassidy Caravans competes with the Crimson Caravan Company and with the Van Graffs. Now, the only way to get Cass to the Silver Rush Casino is if she's our companion. But the only way to get her as a companion is to convince her to sell her company to the Crimson Caravan Company, something she's hesitant to do. This is all part of Cass's companion story, which we get to see while completing the quest, Heartache by the Number. Cass and her companion quest are so interesting that they deserve their own dedicated video, so I'm not going to go through her entire quest here. Instead, we'll pick up right after we convince her to sell her company to the Crimson Caravan Company. With nothing keeping her in this bar anymore, she's willing to accompany us.
So you're looking for someone to help, not just tag along. Huh. Walking the Mojave with you can't be any worse than here, that's for sure. All right, I'm in.
With Cass in tow, we can head back to Freeside and walk towards the Silver Rush Casino. The casino looks far different at night. The electric sign still works and shines brightly at night. Entering the casino, we can walk down to the retail floor and present Cass to Jean-Baptiste.
As I live and breathe, Rose of Sharon Cassidy, the late Rose of Sharon Cassidy, was hoping you were on that caravan I massacred, but Crimson Caravan and Van Graffs won't need to worry about you anymore. Mojave's ours, and we're shutting you down for good.
It's strange that he talks to Cassidy while looking at us, and it's we who have to respond and not her. Now we have 3 options here. Remember, Jean-Baptiste told us that he only wanted to talk with her, but now we learn that he wants to kill her. We can object to this and say, if you shoot her, you'll soon regret it.
Really? We'll see about that.
With that, the Van Graffs open fire on Cass and on you. We then have to go through one of the thickest gunfights in the game. All of the Van Graff thugs open fire, and they all wield plasma and energy weapons. We're also in a crowded room, which makes ranged weapons not really viable. But if you're a pistol build like me, and if you have plenty of action points and are decent in VATS, you can make your way through. Or you can always resort to a good melee weapon like this lovely cosmic knife from the Sierra Madre Casino to cut your way through the thugs. When they're all dead, we can talk with Cassidy to make sure she's okay.
Just trim the Van Graff family tree. I think Freeside'll breathe a little easier now.
Now, we just failed the Birds of a Feather quest, and from here we can go on to complete Cass's companion quest. We can't do both quests in the same gameplay because they conflict with each other. We have to make a choice. Will we side with Cass, or will we side with the Van Graffs? This video is about the Van Graffs, so we're gonna side with them. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Cass. I'm gonna do a big video about Cass. In my game, I side with Cass, but I want to know the Van Graff story, and I want to share it with you. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Jean-Baptiste kill Cass. He responds exactly the same way to either of these 2 options. Sounds good, Jean-Baptiste. Kill her.
Waited too long to finish this. Last loose end, all wrapped up. Hi, I'm Jean-Baptiste, and you're about to stop being a pain in my ass. Oh, that was fun. Did you see the look on that bitch's face? Priceless. Anyway, Glory's been antsy lately because that big deal she's been working on is finally going down. If this thing goes down, we'll have it made. Fucking made, I tell you. Talk to her about it. I'm sure she'll want you along. And don't think I forgot your pay. A job well done is its own reward, but it doesn't pay for pussy at the local brothel, does it?
Now, strangely enough, her remains are marked as owned. Checking her body, we find a unique outfit, Cass's outfit and Cass's hat, and of course an empty whiskey bottle. She did love her whiskey, but if we loot any of this, the Van Graffs turn hostile. Apparently, since they killed her, they own her loot. So instead of looting her corpse, we can then go to Gloria to talk about her next job.
Good, you're here. Do you remember that package I had you deliver? Well, the client liked the sample and put in a massive order. It's possibly the biggest order we've ever supplied. I've had to repeatedly assure my mother that everything will go smoothly. And that's where I'm hoping you'll come in. We'll be bringing an escort, and I want you on it. What do you say?
We can always back out at this point and say, hey, I can't right now.
That's okay. I still need some time to get everything together. The logistics of an order like this are headache-inducing. We won't need to head out for a while yet, so stop back when you have the time.
But when we're ready, we can say, count me in.
Perfect. We're still getting everything together, but I can always find a use for idle hands in the meantime. Once we're settled, we'll head out to the rendezvous point.
The screen goes black, and we appear in some sort of warehouse, surrounded by the Legion. But despite my character's reputation with the Legion, they're not hostile. Maybe because I'm camouflaged in Van Graff armor. Soon after arrival, Gloria takes us aside.
They're taking an awfully long time inspecting the weapons. I'm beginning to think they're doing it just to unnerve us. Don't let them rattle you, though. The deal's almost done. There's just one last piece of business left. Speaking of which, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Things are about to get a little crazy. When I give the signal, follow my lead, okay?
Wait, what?
I don't have time to explain now. Just do as you're told and we'll all be rich.
Is anything wrong?
Not if we don't screw this up. I'm counting on you to do your part. Just wait for the signal. You'll know what to do.
All right, got it.
That's what I like about you. You follow orders, for the most part. Just remember to wait for the signal. I trust you find everything acceptable?
Everything seems to be in order. Caesar will not soon forget this.
No, I imagine he won't.
A grenade falls from the sky.
It's a trap. Fall back.
The commander is down. Kill the rest.
The legionaries closest to us pass out, and the rest of the Legion forces flee to the shipping containers on the eastern portion of the room. They open fire on us, and the Van Graff family fights back. But then, NCR troopers appear from behind us. They run into the shipping container maze, clearing out the legionaries. The maze is easy to get lost in. We wind between shipping containers and shelves filled with loot, tracking down each of these legionaries to kill them.
Come on!
Once all the legionaries are dead, we can loot this place. There's not a whole lot. We find a few bottles and some junk. There's a stack of Sunset Sarsaparilla crates in one corner where we can get some Sunset Sarsaparilla. Sadly, we can't open the weapon crates. These were part of the trade deal, and of course these must be going back to the Van Graffs, which is why we can't open them. At the very back of the room next to some pack Brahmin, we find a stairway leading up. This leads to a small catwalk and a door leading back outside, but we can't interact with this door. Still, this catwalk must be where the NCR was hiding before they attacked. Checking out the southern wall, we find a door that leads us right outside. Here we find the Van Graff family fighting some fiends and some giant ants. We can help them out if we want, and turn around to see exactly where we are. We're at some sort of big warehouse right next to Camp McCarran. What? What was the Legion thinking, meeting the Van Graffs in a warehouse right next to the NCR's headquarters? So did the NCR catch wind of the meeting going on here and decide to seize the opportunity to kill some legionaries? Or were they working with the Van Graffs? We can head back inside the warehouse and talk with Gloria to find out.
Good job. I need to work out some last-minute details with our new clients, but after that we'll head back to the Rush.
The screen goes black and we appear back at the Silver Rush Casino.
I suppose you have a few questions.
For starters, what just happened?
We made a lot of money, that's what. The Legion paid us to deliver weapons, and the NCR paid us to deliver the Legion. Or some of them, anyway. Caesar has been making overtures to prominent suppliers for some time now. Usually, they're too scared of him to cross him and just pay or flee. I saw an opportunity and negotiated a deal with the NCR. I helped draw some of their enemies' troops into a trap, and they agreed to buy from me. Normally, those stuck-up bastards wouldn't have anything to do with us, but their situation is precarious, and this chance was too tempting.
So now the Van Graffs are allied with the NCR?
Well, not exactly. The deal wasn't exactly sanctioned by my mother, but she'll come around when she hears about the profit I made. If she's smart, and she is, believe me, she'll turn this to her own advantage and make a bundle off our new connections in the NCR.
Wouldn't you have made just as much money working with the Legion?
Hardly. They've got a lot of soldiers and slaves, but they don't come close to having the amount of wealth the NCR has. When I said we were going to be rich, I meant it. The deal I brokered with the NCR netted me 5 times what Caesar paid. Keeping Caesar's money was just a bonus.
But wait, I thought you hated the NCR.
Oh, I do. They're a bunch of corrupt, bullying fools who think they can tell everyone how to live their lives, and my family's fought them for years. But that's just it. Do you know how large the NCR army is? If they wanted to, they could have beaten us a dozen times over. Do you know why they haven't? Money. Every time things have gotten too tense, we've paid them off and laid low for a while. They're an enemy we can live with. This Caesar, on the other hand, is a different animal. We've heard reports for years from our agents to the east. He doesn't tolerate his enemies. He makes examples of them. And he doesn't have friends, only servants. And the Van Graffs serve no one but themselves. Given that, the choice was rather simple.
What will you do now?
It'll be all I can do to supply the NCR with the amount of weapons they want, so I'll be pretty busy for the foreseeable future. Oh, you're probably wondering if you still have a job. I don't have anything open at the moment, sadly. But we're going to need all the help we can get transporting guns to the NCR, so stop by every now and then, and I might have a delivery job for you. And before I forget, here's your share of the take from the warehouse job. You can keep the armor. Thanks again for all your help.
With that, we complete Birds of a Feather. And the next time we talk to Gloria, she greets us as a trusted friend.
My favorite employee returns. What can I do for you?
Hey, Gloria, just thought I'd stop in to say hello.
You're welcome here anytime.
Despite telling us that she may have more jobs for us in the future, that's where our professional relationship ends. She no longer gives us any quests. Instead, we can simply use her as a weapon merchant. But this quest left me very conflicted. On one hand, they're clearly a criminal family. They kill people who get in their way. They don't have any moral code. But on the other hand, I can't help but find myself respecting Gloria. She's practical. She has good business acumen. She makes enemies, but she also knows when she can't fight those enemies. She may not like the NCR, but she's not above working with them when she knows that she can profit. It takes a lot of maturity to be able to admit your weaknesses and to get over your own personal prejudices for the betterment of yourself, your family, or your cause, which she clearly does. Where I disagree with Gloria and the Van Graff family is how they choose to run their business. Now, you know me, I'm all for capitalism. I love a good free trade economy. And so you might think that, hey, the Van Graffs are just the embodiment of pure, undiluted capitalism. Why wouldn't I love what they're doing? The problem is that they don't embrace free trade. Free trade is all about companies and businesses competing with each other to produce a better product and marketplace for the consumer. And that's not what Gloria and her Van Graff family does. Instead, they eliminate competition, and they do so with violence. That is the thing that distinguishes them from a simple family dealing in weapons to a crime family. They respect the gunrunners, but they still see the gunrunners as their enemies. Since Cassidy Caravans allows people to transport goods more cheaply along trade routes that the Silver Rush either does not control or has no influence on, her caravan is considered competition and she must be eliminated, which is why they had to kill her. They send messages through thuggery, murder, and violence rather than through negotiation, which all leads to a bad end result for the consumer. Competition is important for capitalism to work. It's essential for free trade to work. And when you remove competition, you form a monopoly, which leads to crime, violence, and thuggery. This makes the Van Graff family no better than criminals. They may have more sophistication than your average Freeside thug, but at the end of the day, they take what they want when they want, which is exactly what a Freeside thug does. They don't respect people, they don't respect society, and they are diametrically opposed to the free market. And for those reasons, I'm going to oppose the Van Graff family in my playthrough and side with Cass when we do her quest, Heartache by the Number. But that is a video, ladies and gentlemen, for another day. Never fear, I will be getting to Cass's full story in the coming weeks. I publish a new video 6 days a week, so if you want to make sure that you don't miss Cass's story when I publish it, be sure to subscribe and to click that bell notification button. What are your thoughts on the Van Graff family? Do you think that they're evil thugs who just need to be eliminated? Or do you respect what they're doing? And do you think that their modus operandi is acceptable in this post-apocalyptic world? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I read all of your comments and I use your comments as inspiration for my future videos. I've got a t-shirt shop, folks. If you'd like to get yourself an Oxhorn or a Fallout-inspired t-shirt, you can find a link to my shop in the description below. And if you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers gain access to a private channel on my Discord server, as well as a bunch of other cool Oxhorn perks. But more than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, with a brand new video.